Super Smash Bros. Oh boy, do I love this series. The community, the tournaments, the fan reactions. Few things matches the experience of playing Smash Bros. With a bunch of friends. But how exactly did the series get so smashingly popular? What precisely caused Smash Bros. To evolve up to this point? Well, the answer may surprise you. It was 1999 on a stormy night when I first saw this Smash Bros. Commercial, and I loved every bit of it. I could play as Donkey Kong and expand Dong on Mario, or even play as Yoshi taking out Mario for animal abuse.
But that's not where all the real fun of Smash comes from. The evolution of Smash Bros. Bears the community in mind. That being said, Smash Bros. Is a game meant to be played with friends, and that, in essence, was the idea behind the series' creation.
I cannot tell you how many nights I played Smash with my cousins growing up. The Pokeballs, the connecting home run bats, the Falcon punches, it was chaos. But it was a great time. Smash 64, when it was first released, epitomized the concept of couch gaming. The sensation of having a long day's work with studies or a job, and ending it with a game of Smash and maybe some pancakes on the side is, well, just awesome. I actually did that a lot, by the way.
To having fun smashing with friends, or seeing some incredible feats in the tournament scene.
Oh my god! Did you guys just see that?
Smash Bros. Has a really broad and constantly engaging fan base. So how did the evolution of Smash Bros. Come about?
Well, first, the concept was brought to life by a man by the name of Masahiro Sakurai. In 1998, he pitched an idea to Nintendo about a 4-player fighting game, along with help from the late Satoru Iwata. The concept of Smash Bros. Was born, and due to the universally known basic mechanics of other fighting games, Daddy Sakurai wanted to make Smash entirely unique from the rest of the fighting genre.
So in that sense, Smash Bros. Is an odd character compared to other fighting games. For starters, there are no health bars, and platforming mechanics are implemented. The main goal is to damage other characters to a high enough percentage to knock your opponent off the stage.
A simple concept, but in practice it was just chaotic, but in a recreational type of way. Each character has their own special and smash moves. Special moves are any move performed by pressing the B button. There are 3 other special moves like side B, up B, and down B. Same can be said with smash moves, which can be performed by pressing the A button.
Additionally, there are tilts, shields, grabs, and sprinting. Each character has their own unique moveset, so performing combos that effectively uses your character's abilities is central in Smash.
In Smash 1, I generally mained Samus, and that was mainly because of the lack of Metroid on the N64, but anyways, the game basically laid the foundation to future titles in the series. I have played this game constantly with friends, family, you name it. Smash 64 is the first Smash game I played, and it did well in introducing a new concept in regards to the fighting genre. But then a new game was up in the horizon, Super Smash Bros. Melee. I have spent so many hours on this one. It cannot be overstated. Smash Melee is one of my favorite games of all time. Melee took what Smash 64 had to offer and just, well, expanded on everything. New characters, new stages, trophies, event matches, adventure mode, you name it.
Melee is what you could call the first Smash game that I truly fell in love with. It was after I saved up my pennies to buy a GameCube and had already spent countless hours of my childhood sailing the seas of Wind Waker and blowing up my friends as the dastardly duo in Double Dash. When my brother came home from our local game store with a pre-owned copy of Melee, "It's a game where you get to play as Link," he said, or Mario, or Pikachu, or the cool buff guy in the skin-tight latex suit who yells PUNCH! And you know what? In our household, we all sucked at Melee. Like, really. But beating the crap out of each other as our favourite Nintendo characters was what mattered to us, and so that's what we did.
Playing Melee growing up was an adventure all in itself. I remember I used to play this game all the time with my cousins. I mained Sheik, while my cousin mained Ganondorf, and he was a really good Ganondorf player. I remember he used to wipe the floor with me all the time. So I made it my personal mission to take him out. So I tried to learn Tekken in Melee. And that's right, Smash Melee, especially in the competitive scene, uses Tekken. So what exactly is Tekking? Well, in a nutshell, Tekking is a technique. When you get hit by an attack, you enter a tumbling state. In this state, if you tap the shield button at the right time before you hit the ground, wall, or ceiling, your impact will be buffered.
Tekking can be used to increase the speed of the game. It can be used in both offensive and defensive gameplay, and you can pull off some really neat stuff with it. But that's not all, there's wave dashing. Wave dashing is a technique that causes a character to slide along the ground without walking or running. It essentially transfers the momentum of an air dodge into a wave of ground-based movement. And despite some initial judgments, wave dashing is not a glitch, but rather a physics engine exploit, which basically dominates the melee competitive scene.
And there is also L cancelling, which can be done by pressing Z, L, or R right before landing on the ground. If done properly, the player can reduce their recovery time. This in turn can greatly increase a character's rate of attack, which plays into creating some insane combos.
In short, all of these techniques are used to increase the speed of the game, whether it's to chain combos more rapidly or pull off some unbelievable feats. To this day, Smash Melee has the most freedom when it comes towards physics engine exploits, which is very evident in the Melee tournament scene. Smash 64 and subsequent Smash games do have their own unique teching, but Melee had a more exploitable design in that regard.
So as a kid, I tried to learn these techniques as best as I could. So there I was, determined to take out my cousin who mained Ganondorf. I practiced with Sheik non-stop. I attempted to learn how to wave dash and L cancel as best as I could. I even formulated my own combos. I went full on Rocky training mode for this, and when I finally did face down my cousin, I took him to Final Destination 5 stocks, no items. It was just me and him, and to this day, it is the most intense match I ever had. We were both neck and neck, pulling out ridiculous edge games, and we were squared off. Blow by blow, we were nearly equal. And then it went down to where each of us just had one stock left. At this point, our blood was just boiling. Then at the last moment, my cousin Warlock punched me and I was out. So I lost, but that didn't really matter. The thrill of competition and the community aspects of playing with my cousin in a game of Smash really brought out a side of me that I didn't really know existed at the time, and that was the freedom of what Melee had to offer.
Seriously, some pro Melee players like Mewtwo King and Wobbles can pull off some insane moves, and interestingly enough, Melee has stood the test of time. Melee tournaments are still going on to this day, and we're talking about a 14-year-old game here. In fact, the largest Melee tournament in history was this year at EVO 2015.
There is a real love for Melee. If you haven't already noticed, it is my personal favorite game in the series, and it is my favorite fighting game ever. And it is because of the metagame that Melee really shines. People just keep finding ways to change how Melee plays. For example, at first, Jigglypuff and Yoshi were considered low-tier characters, but now Jigglypuff is considered to be one of the best characters in the game, and the pro player Amza uses Yoshi and he can seriously dismember the competition. No, seriously, the things he pulls off is insane. I still play Melee to this day, and I still main my trusty Sheik. Maybe one day I'll get a rematch with my cousin to settle the score once and for all.
To its level of technical depth and constantly engaging fanbase, Smash Melee offers a lot to the fighting game genre, and despite my lack of experience with it as a competitive game, it is undoubtedly one of the most hype fighting games out there today.
And now we head to E3 2006. Super Smash Bros Brawl was first revealed. When I first saw the trailer, my mind exploded into a hype mess. In fact, I don't think I was this hyped for any game release ever, not even Twilight Princess, which I was pretty hyped for. Metal Gear's very own Solid Snake is a playable character, even Sonic made an appearance.
And then we had Super Smash Bros Dojo. It's a site that displays new information about the game, and let me tell you, my eyes were glued on this website, just for new info on new characters or anything to satisfy my anticipation.
And when the game did come out, I thoroughly enjoyed it minus a few nitpicks. But then again, I may be a bit Melee biased, but I can appreciate what Brawl had to offer. For one, Brawl first introduced the Smash Ball, which can unleash a character's final smash.
The game also introduced custom stages where you can build your own arenas, assist trophies which basically act like Pokeballs but deal with other video game characters, and of course, the Subspace Emissary, which is basically a more in-depth adventure mode. The cutscenes for this mode are commendable. Somehow, Sakurai gave characters that don't talk life in cinematic fashion. Now, I've said before that I was into Melee when we bought it, but oh my god, nothing like Brawl. I don't think I'll ever forget the first time I saw this cutscene. The Falcon Flyer, Samus's gunship, the Hocotate rocket, Fox's Arwing, and eventually Kirby on the Dragoon laying siege to a massive black hole gun thing. Why was this all happening? I wasn't sure. Was it awesome? Hell yeah. My 11-year-old brain couldn't cope with the hype, and there were other great game modes on Brawl too that occupied way too much of my childhood, such as the 100-man Brawl, a game mode which actually determined my main for the game. You know Captain Falcon's side B, Raptor Boost? Yeah, spam that. You'll win. Every time. Mostly.
My main in Brawl is Wolf. I really loved how he played in the game, but in regards to Smash Brawl, there are a couple of complaints. For one thing, I despise the tripping. However, Brawl chose accessibility over deep competitive play. I like to consider Melee, Brawl, and Smash 4 to be companion pieces. Melee is the most competitive, Brawl is the most accessible, and Smash 4 is a mix between both.
To satisfy the melee taste, a mod known as Project M was created, which basically takes Brawl and makes it play like Smash Melee. A great mod, which I'd recommend checking out.
Then at E3 2011, Smash 4 was announced. For the first time you can play as Mega Man, Pac-Man, and the mass murderer known as Villager. A bunch of new fighters were added, including DLC characters like Ryu. As a result, the Smash 4 roster is a whopping 55 characters, and even more DLC fighters are bound to be released. Roy, my boy, I am looking at you.
There are two versions of Smash 4, one on the 3DS and one on the Wii U. The 3DS version has Smash Run, which is very much like the Subspace Emissary but more compact. The Wii U on the other hand has Smash Tour, which plays like a board game. Additionally, Stage Editor has been vastly improved along with Wi-Fi connectivity, and Smash 4 personally gets my vote as my favourite Smash game. The graphics are perfect, the gameplay is mostly balanced, and it combines many of the best parts of previous games to create a fantastic overall experience.
Smash 4 also introduces custom moves where you can modify a character's moveset. You can play as Mii's now and wear some cool outfits, but some Mii outfits try to substitute for actual potential playable characters. Sorry King K. Rool, you had a shot making it though. Oh god, what did they do to you, Crom? Also, I enjoyed other modes like Master Orders and Crazy Orders. I especially love what Sakurai did with Classic Mode. Then later, after the game's release, the Smash Vote ballot was introduced, where people can vote for what characters they would want to see in Smash. My vote goes for Reckless Wiimote Guy. You know that one guy you see before Wii games that tells you to be careful? And which Wii game does he appear in? All of them!
I personally jumped on the Banjo for Smash bandwagon, Banjo-Kazooie being one of my favourite childhood games. Knocking heads as the bear and bird on a Nintendo console once again would be a dream come true, and one more likely considering a particular tweet from Phil Spencer. And then I had to help out good old Waluigi. Everyone's cheating but him, and he's been left out in the cold too long. Wah.
Smash 4 is a really fun time, and I love the 1080p 60 frames per second action. For Smash 4, I typically main Marth and Robin, and I try to tip the scales with both.
I originally mained Link in Smash 4, but over time I've readjusted to the manliness that is Captain Falcon, and he's reasserted himself as my main. Smash 4 is the first Smash game that I don't consider myself absolutely awful at. Oh, I'm not saying I'm good, not at all. But compared to my skills in Melee, at least I can actually recover in this game. I've had the most fun playing locally with Smash 4. My group of local friends even have a cardboard and sellotape Smash Crown for when we host very disorganized, very drunk tournaments. But I digress. Smash 4 is a marriage between Melee speed and Brawl's accessibility, and I'm curious if the series is continuing at all. Masahiro Sakurai has stated that he is considering retirement if developing games continues to be as stressful as it is.
In all honesty, salute to Masahiro Sakurai, Satoru Iwata, and HAL Laboratories for giving so many good memories. I had a lot of good experiences playing Smash Bros, so much so that I consider it interactive art.
To this day, people are still playing Smash Melee and the game's 14 years old by the time of this video. That's unheard of. There is something really unique and beautiful about Smash Bros.
It brings people together to have a great time, to smashing with friends, or enjoying watching pros duke it out. You want to have a fun night? Get some friends over, order some food, and play some Smash Brothers. The fun, the laughter, and all the good times. That is what Smash Brothers is all about. This is the evolution of Smash Brothers.
I'm glad this guy works for NASA, because I'm gonna slap his ass to the moon!
And there you have it!
Hey, thanks for watching. I had loads of fun making this video, but the evolution doesn't stop here. Next evolution video I'll be tackling the Sonic series, and wow, I have my hands full on that one.
But if you want to continue on more videos, click here to see the perplexing evolution of Pokemon. Till then, I hope you have a great rest of the day, and take care.
Also, special thanks goes to Zeltik for joining me in this video. He has some pretty cool stuff on his channel. Anyways, have a smashing rest of the day. Take care.